like to improve some aspects from the game's environment. GTA San Andreas already had some great graphics back then, not gonna lie. Adding a graphics mod, such as DirectX 3.0 though, will help to get the most out of the game's visuals. This ENB series incorporates more advanced and complex effects, such as dynamic reflections, improved shadows, global illumination, and atmospheric environments similar to those in modern games, ideal for those looking for an improved and modern visual experience. With the graphics mod installed, the next step is to improve the textures of the map. The streets in the game, especially those of Los Santos, lack the typical conditions that a dangerous neighborhood usually has. For example, we hardly see graffiti, pollution, streets, or buildings deteriorated or in bad condition, making the streets of Los Santos look harmless and not dangerous as they are in real life. Well, these two texture packs called LA Hoods and Watts Neighborhood are two mods that replace part of the textures of Los Santos, with some textures inspired by real-life streets of Los Angeles. Now we can see different graffiti on the walls, pollution in the streets, urban art, and more. In short, textures that will make the streets of Los Santos' neighborhoods look like dangerous places that you definitely wouldn't want to visit. Of course, I couldn't forget about Insanity textures. Insanity textures have the particularity of being very realistic because they use models and textures taken from GTA 5. With them, the streets will look much more immersive, and you can't deny the fact that they look great in-game with the graphics mod enabled. Alright, with these new improvements, the vanilla vegetation now looks very out of place. There are many good mods that replace the vegetation, however. For this video, I will be using the Insanity vegetation. This mod significantly improves the appearance of trees, bushes, and grass with a more realistic look. The original vehicles in the game now also look very out of place, so I installed this mod called 90s AVP Reborn, which improves the textures of all vehicles with a more modern look, while preserving the original essence of their era. Another really cool mod that improves the game's surroundings and streets is the one called Urbanize mod. This mod gives more life to the entire game's map by placing many pedestrians in many different spots of the map, doing different animations. A cool feature that this mod has is that now we can see the gang members hanging out in their corresponding territory, which I find to be a very striking detail. To finish with this section, there's another relatively new mod that diversifies the game's map by adding random events to the streets of the map. From pedestrians being mugged, traps like being lured into an alley, gang members being tortured in different areas of the map. Every event has a different outcome depending on how we intervene. This mod is excellent to reflect how dangerous the streets of Los Santos can be, mostly in the hood. Moving on to the next section of the video, it's time to focus on the skins in the game. In GTA San Andreas, there are only 3 different skins for each gang. Wouldn't it be great to have more variety of gang members in the game? Well, this mod called More Gang Members does such thing. It adds a variety of new skins to the Grove Street families, and also the Ballas, in order to have a greater variety of gang skins going around the map. Let's be honest. The low polygon art design of GTA San Andreas makes the gangsters look very harmless and not at all intimidating. That's why, with a pack of over 100 different skins uploaded by a user on the internet, I've managed to make the gang members look much more intimidating and dangerous. Plus, a large part of the pedestrians in the game are also replaced with this same skin pack. It is well known that during the 90s, the situation regarding gangs in Los Angeles reached critical levels of violence and criminality, with the Bloods and the Crips being the 2 largest and most dangerous gangs at the time. And we know that a big percentage of the history mode of GTA San Andreas is based on these events. So to make it more realistic, I've decided to replace the skins of the Grove Street families with members of the Bloods and the Ballas with members of the Crips to make the gang wars much more interesting. By the way, I think I'm forgetting something very important. Of course, Carl Johnson. Since I've replaced the skins of the pedestrians and gang members in the game, CJ's skin is a bit out of place with the atmosphere I'm building. So I've replaced his skin with the one called Carl Johnson Remastered Player, which replaces the character's old textures with ones in much higher resolution. And tell me if this new CJ doesn't fit better with the game's environment now. Alright, we're done with the skins section. Now let's focus on the animations. The original animations of the game are not bad, but they could be improved even better. Just look at these animations called original gangster anims. These animations are used by gangsters in GTA 5, and they make the game's animations look like a next-gen title. To improve even more the animations mod, there is this other one which adds a new animation when switching weapons. As you can see, it's a simple animation, but at the same time, it adds that touch that was missing. And finally, to finish off the animation section, Death Animations V1.1 replaces the animations of pedestrians when they fall on the ground with a more natural and realistic animation. There are 10 different animations, and pedestrians will react depending on where and from what distance they have received the impact. Animations section completed. Now let's focus on the weapons. 90s Atmosphere Weapon Pack. It is a mod that replaces the existing weapons with more realistic models corresponding to the time in which the game's story takes place, while continuing to preserve its classic 90s essence. To give more immersiveness to combats and shootings with firearms, Weapon Recoil Auto is a mod that adds a kind of recoil effect when shooting with any firearm. With this simple mod, we will have the feeling that we are shooting with a high-power weapon in the game. Now it's time to focus on the scripts, which will be those small modifications that will end up giving life and more dynamism to the game's gameplay. Smoke in V2.0 is a small script that allows you to smoke whenever and wherever you want. It's enabled by typing the word smoke, and our character will immediately do this specific animation. This mod is perfect to give more style to our protagonist. Drive is a cool mod that lets you steal cars like in GTA 4. With this mod, you won't just open the car door and that's it. You will break in and start the car in a very violent but realistic way. Gangs with Music, it's one of my favorite mods from this video. With this mod installed, we will see how all the rival gangs, including the families, will be listening to music in the street through a speaker. They can be seen listening to the same music in their cars, and all the tracks chosen are classic hits from the golden age of the West Coast.
Doggy Dog and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance.
You'll never get done with that.
About to rip shit up.
That's what the town got in the shop.
Nigga, most of these niggas be bitches too, but you'll never hear that side of the story. So, we finna do this.
Focusing now on illegal activities, mugging is a small Clio mod that allows you to steal money from pedestrians on the streets by simply approaching them and pointing any firearm directly at them. We will see that they will give us a certain amount of money, and if a policeman is nearby, he will start to chase us. Another cool mod is this one called Robbery Mod. This is a simple script that allows to rob any store within the game. Just like the previous mod, all we need to do is aim directly at the pedestrian, and in most cases we will get 2 wanted stars. So we'll have to be quick in order to escape. It's not all about getting away with it and going unpunished. Surrender, like in GTA 4, is a very good mod that will add the feature to the game of being able to surrender to the police. This mod, along with the one called Reality Prison, after being arrested, we will appear in the police station behind bars for a certain period of time. We can also resist arrest by pressing the spacebar just before being arrested to avoid going to jail. Very realistic. Establishing territory is something very typical to see in gang groups. Graffiti Anywhere is a Clio mod that allows us to paint a graffiti on any wall in the game. It is very easy to use it, and all graffiti will look great wherever you paint it. This mod has the option to add your own graffiti to the game, but I like the ones that come by default. To increase the difficulty of the game and make gang fights more challenging, Different Fighting Styles is a script that changes the fighting style of gangs specifically. This mod will make fist fights between gang members more equal, along with the mod called PED Skills, which its main purpose is to modify the artificial intelligence of PEDs in general, in order to make gameplay more challenging. We all know that GTA San Andreas doesn't have an option to increase the difficulty of the game manually. But with these 2 mods together, we will notice an increase in the difficulty of the game right away. The mod I want to talk about next is called More Hostile Gangs. This mod makes use of an animation within gang behavior, which for unknown reasons, Rockstar decided not to include in the final version of the game. With this mod installed, every time we drive a car into enemy territory, the gang members will behave more aggressively, and as soon as spot us, they will cause damage to our car. Moving on now with some scripts that allow us to have more interaction with our gang members. Drive-by remake is a small script that allows us to shoot manually from our car, even though we're driving. So every time we carry out a car shootout with rival members, the feeling will be more fun and interactive. Handshake mod is a simple but cool script which allows you to interact with your gang members doing a handshake. This mod is activated by approaching a gang member, then holding the Y key. Perfect for making the game environment more interactive. The following mod is one that I used to play a lot with in 2009. With this script, we will be able to give any weapon we want to a member of our gang. Therefore, he will be able to carry a much heavier weapon, unlike the ones they usually carry by default, which will give us an advantage when fighting with rival gangs. Gangbanging is a word that has to do with everything related to criminal acts, territorial conflicts, crime and violence within gang groups, which is why the last 4 mods will be the most violent of the entire video. YouTube, please don't punish me. Insult Passersby is a simple script that, after installing it, will give CJ the ability to insult any random pedestrian on the street. The streets of the game are dangerous, and with this little mod, our protagonist lets passersby know that they have entered the wrong neighborhood. The next mod is another one of my favorites in this video, and you're going to love it as much as I did. Environmental Kills is an amazing mod that adds the ability to use objects around you to hurt your opponent. From using a trash can as a weapon, hitting it against a water hydrant, throwing it into a dumpster, or even making it crash into a vending machine. There are so many ways to knock out your opponent, and I decided to include this mod in the video, since gang fights tend to be very violent, and this mod reflects that pretty well. Just like the previous mod, this one also allows you to finish off your opponents, but in a silent way, in the style of the legendary game Manhunt. There are 6 different animations, all very violent, and they fit in very well with the atmosphere we've created. And last but not least, Spawn Gangs is a script that allows us to spawn all the different gang members with just 1 key. We can spawn as many as we want, and we can also configure the INI file to change the weapon we want them to spawn with, as well as their health. With this mod, our realistic gang simulator would be completed.